little bit more freedom from some of these other teams that we've looked at.
Yes.
I mean, LPIX, we've talked about for a while. Monkey Business been coming back in. Supremacy, Orion. Really, just once you get everything all together inside this game one, it's just gonna let the spice start to brew for itself.
No, I think you're right. It's. I mean, we've kind of summed it up the best as it can. This is the best opportunity in game one to do some of those things we've talked about. You know, maybe try and take some team fights early on. You know, something that's kind of just out of the norm. Because it might be 12 games, but you still got to look at it as a short series.
Just don't play passive. That always gets me on game one. Whenever people are like, we just got to live until the end, guys, and keep 4 people up. It's not going to work out that way.
Well, as well, you know, those are the sorts of games you look back on at the end of a series and you say, you know, maybe we could have got 1 or 2 points from that game if we'd have pushed out that compound and maybe look for something, which is a horrible feeling.
Playing is up over Stolber and going to be ending over Military Base Island. Unless you're a far western team, and I mean, even then, you can probably stretch over there, so nothing too terribly crazy. I mean, unless you're a Zarky drop team, you might have a little bit of struggle getting to your landing location, but everything's pretty open for everybody. We do look like we have a little bit of congestion back over towards the east, as a lot of teams are fairly stacked up on top of each other right now. Trying to make it out, looks like Elusive, No Cap, Clueless, and Gravity. I think Gravity's got to go ahead and got the inside track on that one to get a little bit more space back out. But a lot of teams looking like to play back over next to the coast and potentially make a drop to Loot Prison. That's not too common. But Circle does pop, so it doesn't make it too bad.
I was going to say, this isn't necessarily unfamiliar territory for one of our teams. You know, Clueless had a lot of problems in early game contention in PCS group stages, but a little bit of space. Is he
He's in some trouble. He's surrounded right now. What you got, Fizzle?
Give him the fist. Foot race.
Give him the fist, Fizzle.
Please fist fight in game one.
You so ugly, just chasing him down. Fizzle's trying to run off into the distance. Everybody else on Fizzle's team is nowhere with any sight to work with. You can't shoot at him. That's against the rules. Looks like he's going to at least make it back over to this little section over here. Teammates coming back over with the vehicle might be okay, but some range shots could come in to make it a little bit more problematic. But looks like No Cap's going to go ahead and hang out in Crater. And Elusive is going to live up to their name. No! Oh, no! At it. That was one hell of a shot just to pop him out of there. And look, that's what you get. You come rolling over there to save Fizzle, and who dies? Not Fizzle, the guy that goes to save him. That's classic PUBG.
That is PUBG in a nutshell right there. Jay or Day, I mean, you got to be smashing your desk. Define legit style right now. For that to be in the first 3 minutes of game one, that's not how you want to start your series, Matt.
I know, and now I'm just curious about what's going on in the comms, because, you know, people have to be like, why the hell were you even over there? Gravity, regrouping back over here next to Milta. I mean, we have like a smidgen of Military Base Island in, but let's be real, nobody's going to stay there. It's all of like the beachhead. A lot of our team's probably going to be repositioning around. Our due up center point is, I mean, it's east of Pachinki, a little bit north into that, where you can see like those housing complexes, where you can see like a lot of people always call it, like, I've heard it called traffic jam in that area, where like 6 different roads all combined in the same spot. 5, sorry.
Yeah, it's again though, this is generally a more passive circle one, just because we have so many teams inside this circle. I don't think we're going to see a mad dash for the center, because I mean the center of this circle, it's not as if there's a stack of compounds around it. So we usually see, you know, positioned up towards Volcano. Maybe a couple of teams will lurk south side of Yasnaya. Obviously, there's lots of space around Mansion and Hilltop. So not really expecting too much to pop off here. Maybe just some leapfrogging. A couple of teams are going to try and scout some way into kind of, I'd say, like the central 20% of this. But definitely no center diving, or at least I don't expect it outside of some of these teams that floated across this way initially.
Well, you can see Alpix down here way to the south, doing a little bit of looting in Novo. No real neighbors, but there's a couple of teams. Potentially Gravity might think about camping the Eastern Bridge. I wouldn't put too much likelihood on it just based off the way they're positioning right now. But, I mean, that's it. It's Challenger Series, right, iPod? You never know. Well, like, that's kind of the fun of it.
Well, you know, based on what I just said, this isn't one that you really want to dive center on, right? Gravity were pretty late getting towards Milta. Maybe, you know, the timing's going to be fortunate enough for them to maybe spot out this rotation, or be in a position where it's not going to hold them back if they do decide to camp this. Obviously, they should have some knowledge that there's a team or two down on Sosnovka, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, Pankill's on the crossroads right now. That's, again, if the timing's right, he's going to catch this rotation.
Back over here with Ascendance, they've got Cozy back over towards the southwest of their position, and then just due south of them is going to be the 3 members of Elusive. We saw member go down early from them. Looks like they're going to go ahead and rotate through. And whenever we're talking about the rough situation that's going on inside the circle, you can see it's a lot of open fields due to the positions that we can play. Whenever you look back over into the south of Yasnaya area, there's a couple of dips, different positions that you can play, and it looks like Ascendance is just going to continue to book it on past that one. Moving directly into the fields, this is kind of an interesting little setup. I feel like maybe Cozy taking the shots at him or kind of funneling them back over here, but there is one of the members for Cozy back over onto this point as well.
Well, and this is one of the spots I was talking about. South side of Yasnaya, Cozy have obviously come out. They take control of the wood. I still want to call them yellows. I'm calling them yellows. The yellows.
I still call them the yellows
field.
too. Thank you.
I had this argument with Toby the other day. He calls them planks now. It doesn't roll off the tongue the same way. So, but anyway, Ascendant's now coming into that spot, and again, taking control of the apartments, it gives you lots of vision. You can see where teams are setting up. You have lots of vision out to the west and to the east. It's a really good spot to kind of sit back and watch how Circle 1 unfolds.
Liberate running a fairly wide split. They've got 2 up in the front that are kind of scouting things out, leapfrogging each other just to make sure that they're playing a little bit safe. The other 2 back on the other side of the river right now. Baja Waka is still just scouting back down towards, it looks like, I don't know, kind of scouting out the entirety of the area on the other side of the river from this point. Guabi's already kind of regrouped with the other 2, so maybe Baja's just spotted out something over there that he's not too fond of or just wanting to make sure the back flank is safe. Looks like he's going to go ahead and hop on the vehicle and make his way over as well.
I was going to say, I mean, he could have been over there scouting Valley 8 compound. Again, you haven't got great vision into the south side of that, but maybe if not all other 3 members of Liberated come across this side, that might have been an option. Because, again, it's weird for that to be open right now for one of these teams that has kind of rotated in a little bit, not to take that as kind of just a foothold inside the circle. Clueless is one of the ones I was talking about early on to make some moves. You can see they've obviously got the compound just on the north side of Shelter, and they've also taken control of Ghost, Half Barn, Liquid, one of 18 names that compound's got.
Well, nobody here is really playing for a quote-unquote rural style. It's all suburbs. Everybody is right next to the road that's already kind of holding down position. We don't have anybody that's really like going off and playing off in further distances. Everybody is pretty centered up. And well, at this point, most teams are pretty centered up. And we do have a couple of teams such as the one that we're looking at that's rotating through right now that could bump into play for fun. You can see there's a couple of members just to the south of them, but there's 2 more for play for fun that are up in front of them. But given the fact that everybody's in vehicles, what I was kind of noting is whenever we're looking at the map, everybody is just kind of on that road that leads out of Rajak, that kind of like makes its way north and south after it hits that split. And it's kind of an interesting setup to where we just kind of have this fields in the middle of it that's kind of this open no man's land, and everybody else is just like made a secondary circle around the center of it.
Well, and again, it comes down to a lot of this. You don't want to be there in Circle 1. You can get boxed in. You can lose your vehicles. There's not really anything worth, getting hold of in terms of a compound to really risk that. I mean, cars, you got to see them as a piece of utility, right? You can really box yourself into a position that is really difficult to fight your way out of. And you're absolutely right. That Yasnaya field is no man's land, especially when 2 or 3 teams like pull up on some of those power spots. Talking about Volcano, the compound just north of that. You run the risk of losing a lot early.
I've heard of a bridge camp, but never a reverse bridge camp. Elpix was back down towards Novo, stops at the normal bridge camp location, and instead is harassing Gravity back from Milta from this position. So looks like they're going to just go ahead and take a couple of shots at him. Gravity's already hopping inside a vehicle, so they're going to go ahead and rotate on. Elpix probably going to make its way up towards the north as well. Most of our team's still pretty clustered around center, kind of like what we were talking about beforehand. We've just got a couple of stragglers coming out over here. Keck W is coming back in behind this just to the western positions. Circle just pops, and you can see it's going to be back over towards Rajak just a little bit. Still has Yasnaya inside of it. Still has that field that we were talking about, and you can kind of see what we were talking. Everybody's still kind of playing next to the roads, except for back over towards the north. We've got a little bit of a scattering. Those teams aren't going to have to move. It's just our closer to edge teams. They're going to have to be kind of carving a path in, and almost all of them from the south.
Yeah, and again, I mean, really looking down towards, obviously, the southeast side here to look where these teams move towards, because that water's going to be a factor if the next one does center up. So eyes go towards kind of... Is it 4? No, it's not.
Okay, I
No.
couldn't quite see for certain on that one. I was like, oh my god, not at this stage. No, okay, there's another two back behind them. I was like, oh my god. Sorry, High Pock, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just got a little bit
No,
messed
you-
up on that one. Tetra
Okay,
looks
I
like
mean-
he found a little bit of attention though, but gotta be careful. Got a team back behind him while trying to take out Elusive. Gonna catch on fire, and you can see that's gonna be some shots coming up from Clueless back behind this. Cozy, not too cozy right now, but they are at least kind of warm.
Yeah,
Or
that's
toasty, you could say.
you could say toasty. Do you know, I was waiting for you to set yourself up there, but looking like they're going to be able to reset for both of these. Tetra. Oh, Nitrogen actually landed a double nade. Fizzle and Detonator will fall. Clueless coming out on top of the hillside here. They're trying to third party this as well, Matt.
Well,
Oh, that Molly's perfect.
Clueless
Oh
has
my
so much
word.
work that they can put into this. Elusive already out, and that's not the way you want to start this one up. Going out in 16th place, Nitrogen looking back up the hillside. Tetra does get rezzed. A little bit of an exchange going to go back and forth. As you can see, Clueless does take casualty as well. Now has to be a little bit careful about how they're wanting to aggress around this location. A couple of outside skirting fights that are also going on at the time back down to the south. It looks like KEKW has also bumped into Gravity. Looks like they've all decided to take the same complex, and there has been a little bit of death on both sides, but that is a quick rush coming in as Pankill's just going to go ahead and bust in and say, nope, this floor is going to be mine.
Yeah, Gravity actually losing 3 already, so last man standing here for Gravity. The third party from KEKW Key is on the south side, and I can actually see Elpix as well coming in from the east, so hopefully they're not going to throw into the mix as well, but Femme Fatale and Pankill kind of in this 1v1 situation now at the compound with KEKW Keys just looking to see if they can pick up anything or the remnants on the backside of this fight.
Femme Fatale has a little bit of an angle to kind of play around, but this has turned into a very awkward 1v1 around this situation. You can see Femme Fatale being a little bit more aggressive on one point, but all of the loot right now favoring back over towards Pankill's positioning. Pankill not playing this too aggressive, being aware of the fact last member up wants to kind of play for safety because positioning, while not the best, has an opportunity to be inside the next safe zone. It all depends on how they're wanting to play this one out. Supremacy, though, they're going to be a little bit more on the desire to have complete supremacy of this complex, so doing a little bit of a peek back over towards the sides of this one. Femme Fatale sitting on 1 kill right now. Honey also picking up the other for this team. Neither team wanting to be too aggressive just quite yet at this stage, but it looks like Femme Fatale is the, I guess, closest to being an aggressor that we could see, as Pankill still just kind of wandering around. Looks like maybe contemplating going back for a vehicle, and oh, nope, just going to reposition around this. Think maybe there's more loot outside to be had.
No, you're right. Femme Fatale definitely looking for some more active angles here, just trying to peek onto the building. Actually takes a little bit of a tag from Elpix. I think that's Tudo down in the dip, just at the crossroads off to the east of here. Circle does center up, so now obviously we have a good indicator of where we're going to end up. So Virtue and Liberate's position becoming much, much stronger with that circle posting up with the water still included.
Well, Gravity and Supremacy's just got way worse because they
Yes,
now
exactly.
have two different teams that are rotating next to them. That's going to be Altpix and KEKW, and they still are not inside the safe zone, but there are at least plenty of vehicles to choose from the outside of this. Clue is going to go ahead and rotate back over towards the west just a touch, going to run right around Cozy and go ahead and claim themselves a touch of a complex to play around. Cozy taking a couple of shots back over towards No Cap. That's going to be rotating to the north of them. Ascendants and Pros Don't Snake both hopping in vehicles and look like they could be cutting a path along a similar point. It's going to have to see how well and how quickly Clueless can set up their defensive lines, as they might have a little bit of company to the north. But it looks like everybody's just going to kind of maybe rotate in one building complex, or maybe a little bit more than that. Somebody might stretch and try to go for 2, but nothing too crazy happening back over towards the center right now. I think it's kind of a little bit more of the scattering back over towards the south is where we're seeing a little bit more of the potential for action.
Yeah, again, Virtue kind of hunkering down, holding on to what they've got, but you're absolutely right. Some of these other teams that maybe have a position on the edge, Matt, they might try and send one player forwards, get control of a ridge, and just hope on that next shift. But again, you know, Liberate, Virtue, Orion, I mean TC really to an extent, or kind of the remnants of Cozy. I know they're down to a 3-man, but they're going to hold on to what they've got for the time being for sure.
This is an awkward little fight. As you can see, Orion's off into the distance, but we also had Rarity and Monkey Business. They all had halfway decent sight lines towards each other around school and apartments. That should settle down and really just going to be long-range skirmishes. Cozy Crew still just kind of hunkered down inside their couple of, like, I guess artillery craters is the best way to describe this position. Like, we've had so many changes to this that not all of them have gotten so much attention. Like,
Well,
I feel like everything needs to be named, but it doesn't need to be named.
Okay, here you go. I call this Gaxi.
You call this Gaxi, in homage to Gaxi back in the day?
Literally, yeah. He
Yeah,
made a
okay.
nade. He made a nade play there with like 4 or 5 nades. So yeah, I call it Gaxi now because there's craters. It's the aftermath of Gax. I can't even remember what team he was pushing now, but
Well, we did see Pankill finally go down, and the fight for supremacy back over towards the south has been won by supremacy. But now outside and in the blue zone, so they're going to have to make their way back over towards the safe zone here in just a second with Keck W in front of them. Pros don't snake. I guess if you're laying down in a building, that doesn't count as snaking, right? Right, Hypoc?
I mean, if we wanted to get technical, sure. It's only really snaking if you're in a bush or long grass, right?
Or just down on your belly and slowly moving through something. I mean, I guess if you're inside of a building, that's just more of a safety play coming through. Back over towards the north, you can see Cozy Crew still holding down at Gaxi. There you go. That's what I'm just going to continue with that.
There you go.
There is a 2-2 split up towards the north of position, as well as a 2-1 split. I can see that No Cap looks like they're holding down at least. So Circle's going to pop, and it looks like it's going to be Clueless and Cozy, both pretty comfortable, pretty close to the safe zone. Our Western teams that we were looking at just a second ago, which was Monkey Business and Rarity, going to be the teams that are going to have to move, as well as Keck W back down towards the south.
Yeah, and a couple of teams. I mean, Keck W do have a little bit of space. I can see Elpix now looking for a dive towards Alamo, but there is a lot of space on the backside of Volcano Hill. It's how much of that pressure they can kind of avoid over from the east side. It will all depend on how some of these teams opt to play this one. Orion really in a solid position to pick up some kill points if San Diego Rarity, Monkey Business decide to move out in the open towards them. It's all going to depend on what people try and do. I kind of feel like San Diego Rarity should look to hold them. Play for fun. Meanwhile, they're over at Valley 8. They're kind of scouting the backside of that field. You can see Pros Don't Snake have pulled south a little bit. Now, there is a secondary. Go on.
Question. Why is UMAD not at full life? And why is he not regenning life? This has me slightly worried. Like, we very rarely see
They're playing
players.
for fun, dude.
I mean, I get that they're playing
so
for fun, but that makes me a touch nervous, as it looks like Monkey Business might be committing to a little bit of monkey business of their own, rolling right up next to them. A couple of shots going to connect, and this is not inside the safe zone, so this is an interesting choice to take a fight at. Gribbles is going to go ahead and go down from that point. The other two members looked like they were trying to provide a little bit of, like, I guess, encouragement from the distance, taking a couple of shots, but no clean angles to work with, so that's just going to be an easy pickup, play for fun.
Yeah, I feel like they could have diverted this compound to the north. Interesting decision to crash up onto the wall, but you can see now they're going to try and make their way past the bridge and down to the water side, actually pulling up all the way back towards Pros Don't Snake. You can see, I remember Monkey Business is kind of circling, not sure where to go, whether or not they're going to take this fight, because Pros Don't Snake have got control of the Wizard Tower as well here, Matt.
Yeah, which way are you going to go? There's no good options from this point. You can do a very long rotation around towards the north, but that just puts you in the Yasnaya Fields, which is not going to be that much better of a position to play from. Looks like that's going to be what they decide to go for. Ascendance is going to be playing a 3-1 split and should be able to take a couple of shots at them in just 1 second. There was a little bit of a mix-up going back over here towards the south. You can see that Rarity did take down one of the members of Keck W inside of rotation, but Keck W does manage to go past them and make it in safe zone. So now it's going to be Rarity that's going to have to make some type of rotation of their own. Kind of play this a little bit interesting here, as it looks like they're going to opt into playing along maybe a path that takes them next to Orion? I don't know. Maybe just play this hillside. It is inside the safe zone, but boy, it is edge upon edge.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of playing for this shift, maybe just waiting to see where it goes, but they're going to have even fewer options next time around. Monkey Business did actually, in the meantime, loop all the way over the north side of the circle, come into the Yasnaya Field, and that split from No Cap actually going to clean them up. Magi now going to make his way out of the apartments, but that's all the way off to the north. You can see Innate desperately trying to find a little bit of space to spread along this ridge, but I can't help but thinking this is a move just for them to see the next circle pop, Matt. Maybe opt to dive something off of that circle pop, but it's going to be difficult to build up speed and cross this road with Keck W where they are.
Well, 12 seconds, and we still have a ton of Yasnaya Fields that are in play, Pac, and it has been rough for anybody that tries to make the rotation through there. There's Ascendance, there's No Cap, there's Liberate, and there's Cozy, all holding down angles. So if somebody rotates through there, it is bad. Luckily, the circle does shift back down. Clueless's favor, pretty close towards center right now. And all those teams that were holding down position inside the fields now going to feel the other side of it, as they're going to have to try to rotate through in a wide open terrain piece, and that could be problematic for a lot of them.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, it begs the question, really, what do Orion do here? I think they have the edge of one of their buildings in, but not an awful lot to play from. Play for fun, just trying to hassle Pros Don't Snake on the backside of the hill here. I mean, Prosto Snake kind of have to take this fight before the circle starts coming in, Matt, because Virtue are literally foaming at the mouth watching this.
I'm just confused. They're play for fun, but they have one player that's sad and another player that's mad. So are they playing for fun or are they playing for sadness or mad? Well, I guess it's technically you mad and you sad. So they're playing for fun and they're making other people sad mad. See, there we go. I'm with it now. I get the
you've cracked the
intended joke. I don't know if it's intended or not. I know, Hypuck. He's like, what? I don't even have anything to talk about regarding that. No Cap in a little bit of trouble. Looks like Cozy's going to go ahead and rain down a couple of grenades. The bounces could be problematic, but should be able to get maybe one of these reses back up. Adit now finds himself the last person still alive, but Ascendant's just going to go ahead and roll right by this. No care in the world for what's going down, so it looks like Adit might be able to get the res back over towards Blob. But let's see how these throwables are going to roll back down through. It's not looking too good from here. That's just going to be Cozy holding down a nice position as, man, Adit is just pumping in some damage right now. Yeah, I was going to say, they're getting damage pumped back the direction. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, Nitrogen up to 5 kills already. I'm pretty sure all of them are off utility so far. We know early on that was the case. Tetra actually flashing out one of his with a nade there. But Cozy, I mean, fighting hard to hold on to this area of Yasnaya Field and allowing No Cap to really get this this res off could create a problem for them later down the line. I mean, Liberator sending shots over as well. Prosto and Snake are actually sending it. This is... Everyone is sending it along this path. There's like 4 different teams that are stacked up. KEKW is kind of the stopping point for Pros Don't Snake, but there's 3 other teams shooting at them from the sides. You can see the Ryan's off in the distance, taking a couple of shots as well. There's a quick rotation coming up back behind this. Pros Don't Snake have nowhere to go right now. It is just death upon death from every single angle. Lister and Skaska, the last ones up, just kind of huddling down next to their vehicles. But look at the amount of teams that are playing back over towards Edge. Yeah, there are so many teams playing back off in this position right now. KEKW somehow finding themselves a fortunate position to survive from, as really it is just, they're entirely surrounded at this point. Oh my god, play for fun actually backfilled Orion over here at Glasshouse, and they've managed to apply so much pressure. Orion are now down to 1. The circle is actually good again for this side of the circle. Sorry, this side of the road, Matt. So San Diego Rarity are going to be able to chill there. Cambagini the last man standing, but I mean, he's sandwiched in between a team of 4 and a team of 3 with KEKW the other side of the road as well.
Yeah, this is just a mess back over into this position. Everybody that's kind of trapped into this point knows the fact that they're all just going to end up holding each other back from really rotation points. With the positions showing up, it looks like Ascendance does manage to fight their way back over towards the center, while Pros Don't Snake still committing to not snaking, but they've got a lot of smoke sound, just trying to buy themselves a little bit more time. Ascendance can't really look back down the hillside just to the harassment that they're getting back over towards the east. So with this, it's kind of made their own contained little fights off from different points. No Cap still continuing back over here with Cozy, as these 2 different teams have managed to kind of stall each other in rotation. And don't forget the fact that Liberate and Clueless can potentially take shots along this line as well. So both these teams trying to find the opportunity to make a rotation through, but neither one capable of moving, therefore both stopping each other.
Yeah, Liberator have actually sent 2 early onto Volcano Hill. Now I'm going to see Cozy actually maybe come out here. You can see some shots getting sent towards that split of Liberate. Plube actually going to find Reno out of the US. He's going to fall immediately. Now Nitrogen also going to fall as well. So No Cap actually...
Car got him!
Oh, the car got him! No way!
All planned, 200 IQ knock. That was the intent right there. Tetra, this is your opportunity. You know that they're probably going for the res. If you were paying attention to it, you have some type of chance to move. They already get the res off, and they have a vehicle delivered to them if they need it. Maybe it's just to get the vehicle close enough to exploding. Tetra, take some shots, get something. You got the blue back behind you, and you have no options. You've got to clear this out somehow, some way. And maybe a smoke wall might be able to buy it, but Ascendance gets distracted, looks back down towards No Cap, takes him out. Tetra does have the opportunity to run in now. Was he aware? Was he paying attention to what was happening? Looks back over towards the right. He's got a little bit of smoke. Not a lot of options to work with, but Liberate's just going to stop him in the tracks. They're going to continue to hold down everything towards the north.
Yeah, play for fun actually did fall over on the west side as well. So KEKW and Pros Don't Snake now in a position to hold San Diego Rarity out of this. You can see Liberate now actually recovering from that. Virtue did flex out of the flat top momentarily, but they haven't opted to push on to Liberate on the backside of the hill here. Clueless still hassling Liberate as well, so it's going to force them into this fight, I feel, Matt.
Yeah, we've got an awkward King of the Hill fight that's kind of happening where Sinda's up on the top, and Hello Senpai walks around the wrong corner. Tanaka just rips his head off. Isaac should be able to get the res. Oh, that was a quick reaction coming out. Evasion just running back along this line. Should be able to get close to the tree. I don't know if Guabi has the angle to spot this one out. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. Grenades are not going to connect, so just going to go ahead and regroup back over there. Circle's going to go ahead and continue to favor Ascendance. Means the aggressors we saw trying to harass Liberate just a second ago going to have to move, as well as Rarity, and we're going to see Elpix having to make their way into the safe zone.
Actually, San Diego Rarity have got one player across the road already, so that could be a huge factor for them, but Liberate, meanwhile, they did manage to reset, get the res on Hello Senpai. Virtue did come back to the compound, so there isn't necessarily anybody holding them on the edge of this volcano hill right now.
Pros Don't Snake have an angle back over towards Rarity, but it doesn't look like Keck W does. Instead, Keck W is just going to find themselves pincered between two different points. As Elpix looks like they're kind of cutting right in between where Tomas's positioning is at, as well as Simply Matt. And Keck W is taking shots to really defend at this point. So they're starting to get aggressed upon by multiple angles. Keck W has Pros Don't Snake just to the north that is taking shots back over towards Rarity, that's trying to cross the road. And Elpix is just kind of clustering in back down towards the south. So Tomas doesn't have an easy path to make it inside the safe zone, but they're doing a great job of looking at what's happening, but they haven't taken any shots to defend their location yet. So that means that's going to open up more opportunity for Rarity, but they might be able to pop up like a deadly jack in the box at just the right time and potentially go after Pros Don't Snake or Rarity if they can manage to hide it out for long enough.
I'm just seeing, actually, nobody really wanted to take a fight with anybody here. I mean, Tumas is kind of the factor for Keck W. He's split trying to hold down this Elpix push uphill, but back on board, Virtue still trying to take angles over towards Liberate here. They do have to come away from the flat top, and you got to say, Liberate's angles onto their side of the hill. That's a fantastic. Now you go onto the backside of the rock there. Super and NACC are going to be taken down super low, but no, not coming out of it. Virtue could actually be the ones to really clean up some of these kills over on the west side of this circle, Matt, if they can make it up to the high ground.
And it just depends on who starts just sweeping across the hillsides at this point.
There we
Looks
go.
like Virtue is going to go ahead and start making the run back over. Takes a lot of damage. Super just narrowly gets away with that one. Looks like Clueless was looking back over towards that Ascendance, now getting a little bit of vision back down the hillside, taking a couple of shots to work around. Rarity does get eliminated back down towards the south. So now it looks like Ascendance is looking back over towards Liberate's position, starting to harass them. That's going to open up Virtue to make a little bit more movement options. They could decide to push back down next to Keck W, but some good shots coming up the side of this one's going to go ahead and connect with Ripper. Going to be continuing to be Virtuous. It's just going to be Virtue running right up into the face of Ascendant saying, no, we want the top of the hillside, but Liberate just keeps getting clustered back down on the northern position for this. This could be the opportunity for Evasion. As he steps up, he has an angle, gets some damage, but doesn't get quite enough. Now Liberate coming a little bit more active back behind this. You can see Draven just trying to hold back the shots. There are so many different people that are pushing up to this hillside all at the same time. Clueless is coming up on the other flank. It's just Keck W that's trying to hold out Elpix at the time. All the other teams are trying to cluster their way up for this little bit of an alcove. Virtue realizes it's a little bit too spicy, so instead runs back over next to Liberate. That's one down. Secondary one just drops with Tanaka being on no life and just holding onto that shrubbery. Looks like Liberate might get a little bit of time to reset.
I mean, all this time, Pros Don't Snake was sneaking up onto the west side, just waiting for an opportunity to third party. Clueless have actually pushed up on top now. Ascendants are taking massive casualties. No, Beck's going to drop a nade on top of himself as he gets knocked. Ripper, the last man standing right now. He's got to do something. Clueless actually clean up. Ascendants, Magi, now Ascendants will fall. They go out in 6th place, and now Clueless, and now the guys controlling the most important part of this circle. Liberate still all squeezed into the north side, trying to break these angles or line of sight from Pros Don't Snake down to the top 4 now, Matt.
They did manage to regroup, gather themselves. Liberate has a little bit of control back over towards the north. Elpix is making a push up back behind Clueless to harass them just a touch. Do manage to get one down, but Clueless really wants nothing to do with this situation. And Liberate here's the firefight. Looks like they're trying to third party. They have to assume that based off of the information they had just a second ago, where everybody is repositioning coming out from Clueless. It's just Pros Don't Snake that are sitting this one out, as it looks like Liberate's trying to get back behind this one. Good effective push coming up from Clueless just to go ahead and polish off the last of Elpix. So now looking up the hillside, there are 3 teams still alive, and it's going to be Pros Don't Snake very far back over towards the west. Liberate making a path back over towards the north, leaving Baja just in a little bit of a safety position, seeing if maybe he can get some harassment back over towards Clueless, and Clueless, who have been kind of the instigators for a lot of the fights, walking away with 7 kills right now.
Yeah, they do. Baja's going to be the man to watch right here. He's going to try and play spoiler, I think, get in behind Clueless as they try and move uphill. Hambino is going to get res. Going to put some more utility down, but all this is doing is kind of giving all this information over to Baja that they're going to be pushing to the south side of this circle. So Hello Senpai are obviously going to try and react off that information. Pros Don't Snake are just going to wait this out. I think they're going to wait for both of these teams to fight if they do. Because, I mean, if Pros Don't Snake have to push up onto the hilltop here, they're going to be in line of sight and Liberate.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a fight between Hambino and Baja, depending on who spots out who and how they play this angle. Hambino is playing it fairly close, right next to the zone. Gonna pop up, does spot him out. Quick spray comes out from Hambino. Gonna go ahead and flush that one out. Does get knocked off into the distance, but a quick exchange coming back through. Clueless now aware of what the positioning's happening. Just Ice Tech, the last member up. Pros Don't Snake got a little bit aggressive back over towards this angle. Lister does go down, so only one member up and moving right now. Another one downed out. Liberate only sitting on one player right now as well. So this is a very difficult situation to play from. Near on no life. Liberate has to retreat back next to the rock. Not a lot to work with. Tries to feed it out and does surrender over the blue. So that means that Pros Don't Snake now looking back over towards the last two members from Clueless. Sitting on 9. Looks like it's about to be 10 kills and a victory. Depending on how we can see Skazka play this one. They know exactly where he's at. Tries to play back behind this angle. Looks like they're kind of playing it a little bit too far back. Might not have spotted him out just yet, but those shots are going to give away position. Quick connection. And there we go. It's going to be Clueless taking round 1 with 10 kills.